Well, hello everyone, welcome back to another video of some F1 2021 game ideas. Today we're going to be covering multiplayer in the penultimate episode of this series. So yes, if you have missed any of the series, I believe the link to the playlist for this whole section of ideas is in the description below, so go and check them out and make sure you subscribe as well, because when it comes round to it, we will bring some F1 2021 game news. We're actually going to start with some F1 2021 potential game news because Codemasters have actually been sold, or in the process of being sold, to a company called 2K Media and 2K Games. Now, you may or may have not heard of 2K Media or 2K Games. I hadn't, because I haven't played the NBA game, so I haven't heard. Literally, the last time I was aware, but stuff like basketball, hockey, baseball, and all that was made by EA. But apparently they've been made by 2K Games. So apparently in that game, with the NBA game, there is a bit of an issue with that. So potentially we could see the F1 games. Well, I'm not going to say that Codemasters have made the perfect. That in actual fact, they are a long way from being where I would rate it as a good game. But nevertheless, we don't want it to get any worse because of the game being interrupted by microtransactions, being very clunky, not having any rhythm to the gameplay at all, like it does in NBA, that game. And also, the bad thing is also in that game is mods. Now, Codemasters in recent F1 games have put a crackdown, basically, on using mods. So, they first started off in F1 2018 by not making the language file available, and then they said, oh, but this reveals stuff, and it didn't, because it was just an excuse not to have the language file, and we're still missing the language file, and nobody's actually seen it since F1 2018. But now, of course, it's getting actually worse, because obviously you got the fact of the matter is the game has these certain appliers. All of these sponsors are locked. You cannot change them in game in my team, which is why you have to use the RaceNet livery, which doesn't have the sponsors that you use in your team are being applied to the car. So it's going to be interesting. Definitely, I think we're safe for next year. I don't think they're going to make too much. Obviously, this is the penultimate one. Hopefully they can get a lot of the stuff that we've mentioned in this series into either next year's game or in the next couple of games. So we'll see how they get on. Whether or not they change too much, I don't know. The CEO of Codemasters is staying on, so whether they just say, well, this is what we want, maybe a bit more of microtransactions, which would be a bad thing, of course, and having less availability to mods. So it could be that it could be a bad thing or a good thing. We don't know. We're hoping, fingers crossed though, that they just give Codemasters more money and then they tell them, no, we want modding, because 2K Games, by the way, also own Rockstar Games, who make GTA 5. So ultimately, at the same time, that game has loads of modding as well. So yes, let's move on to multiplayer, where the first idea is about F2 and classic leagues, and also esports, because esports, I feel like they should have some like a couple of tier systems like F2, maybe F3 as well, get more people racing, and then also increase the visibility of not only F2 and F3 but also then esports as a whole. I did also see that somebody wanted classic esports as well, where it's just in classic cars. Again, just because of course they're not. If you've ever seen when they put it on equal performance, it's not really equal performance, is it though? There is it's not quite there. So having people in exactly the same car would allow that same competition to be put across. And also the classic cars, of course, especially with the V10 sounding ones, are actually quite a nice got quite a nice engine to them. Customizing the number of laps, obviously there's a lot of customization options that are available. You can already customize the grid, which you can't do in Grand Prix mode, so there's already a lot of stuff there. So to be honest, I think that what needs to be improved upon is maybe have a look at the weather settings for that, and then also the fuel, tyre settings. Basically, if you want to have the option for the whole lobby to be turned them on and off, so that you don't have that if you're playing it. But if you just don't want to be worried about fuel, have some fun, then that's what you've got, that option. The third idea is to have 30 car lobbies for multiplayer car. If they have Formula 3 in the game, then that means that I'm going to have to increase the number of field for 30 cars, and that means that ultimately you would have 30 car lobbies for Formula 3 because there are 30 cars. So having that, obviously the multiplayer car is the same car, so having that ability to fill that grid up. But for an F1 car that's made by FOM, well, designed by FOM and created by Codemasters, obviously would be add that as well, even though it would cause carnage even more so than we have now at Monaco. But still, having a 30 car lobby as well, especially also that we're moving to the next generation of consoles, having the larger lobbies are probably a must for Codemasters. And the final little mechanic that I think that should be added is the other game mode. So currently now you have unranked, ranked, and then if you're living in the 1990s, you can race over a LAN. But basically, being able to have other game lines, because you've been seeing Loche Esports, Quadrant Esports, and Foxy Dude 98 have all bought these different game modes where they play hide and seek, British Bulldog, tag, they go blindfolded, whatever. I'm sure some bright ideas at Codemasters can think of a couple more options. So adding about 5-10 game modes, that maybe 5 probably to start with, and then they could obviously build them as we go through into the future. But having those different game modes means that you can have a little bit of fun. It also allows the casual player to experience something different, because for me, as if you are a casual player, you're going to go straight for career mode. You're not really going to bother with multiplayer, especially the fact that ranked you don't really see any reward unless you play it for a bit of time. And an unranked, well, let's just say right now, if you want to, you can try and get into an open lobby, but it's not really there yet. Obviously, they've got to do a lot of work on fixing multiplayer because it is broken at the moment quite a bit. If you've been watching TR at Luminous, then of course you get those coldest stars in the solar system thing as well. So yes, there's a lot of glitches that I'm hoping that they should be working on right now for multiplayer, and then have them fixed for hopefully for this game, fix them in this game cycle and not wait for F1 2021. That's the hope. But yes, that's going to be it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you see more episodes. Well, we've only got one more, which is the other stuff where we'll be talking about like Grand Prix mode, scenario mode, and so on, bringing that back in the game, the young driver test, and so on. And a few more other things. If you've got any ideas of your own that I haven't mentioned in the series below, now's your chance to get involved. as well. Leave a comment below with your idea, and I'll make sure to include it in the next video next week as well. So yes, and also let me know what you think about 2K Games taking over Codemasters as well, whether you think it's going to be a good idea or a bad idea as well. But until the next video, next time, take care. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your day, and